So I was in PR and marketing and doing all that, you know, crazy stuff for talent. I worked really hard for lots of talent.
Talent can be really difficult.
Talent, oh my God, especially the female ones. And no, I really loved it and I had really good support there, and then I became pregnant and I went back in, and while I was on maternity leave, and Jude would have been about 10 months old, I was in that real rut of, like, I was running my mother's group. You know, that because that was my social. Oh yeah, because that was my social outlet. See, so I'm very like fastidious with work and being social and all of that, and I felt like the baby thing kind of cut me off a little bit.
Yeah.
I also had a non-sleeper, so I was, you know, a little bit tired, and I really wanted to get back into something, but obviously, you know, I had a few more months left of my mat leave, and I thought it actually happened really out of the blue. I didn't go out going, I'm going to be a blogger. It wasn't about that. What I did do was shop. Right? So I am good at that. And I've always been good at that. So it was kind of a natural flow of what I was going to get into. But I was always interested in bargains, and I was always interested in like thrifting and op shops and whatever. And at the time, Kmart wasn't big, but I was always in Kmart, and I went to a mother's group one day and I was wearing these cool little flats, and they would have been like $15. And this is literally the moment it started. One of the girls was like, oh my gosh, okay, enough. Where are the shoes from? And when you find stuff, can you email me? And I was like,
I'm that
that's
person.
so nice. I was like, oh, that's so cool. I was thinking, yeah, I've got no job. I'll email you. And then another girl in the group, when we were chatting, because I'm always wanting to talk not about babies. I was that mum. I was like, yeah, whatever. Sleep schedules. Don't want to talk about that.
You had it all covered. You were one of those.
No, I wasn't. I so didn't have it covered, but I always liked to talk about other things. And I think even my girlfriends now that I've got, our friendships have lasted probably because we just don't talk about the kids. It's cool, we're mums, but we're
so much more.
We're so much more. So I went to this mother's group one day, and they said to me, one of the girls was like, oh, why don't you send me the stuff? And I was like, yeah, that's cool. That's kind of high maintenance, but sure. And then I thought about this concept kind of overnight, and one of the other mother's group mums said, why don't you start one of those blog things, and so we can all read it.
Right.
And it literally, I'm one of these people, if I get a bee in my bonnet, no, bee in my bonnet's not the right thing. If I get something that I really want to do, it will probably happen overnight because I get so excited about it and I get so passionate about it. Yeah. So this is kind of what happened. It started there as a really little idea with a couple of, obviously, mother's group mums. And then the following week I was like, right, I've got my web developer. I've developed, it's called I Heart Bargains, and I'm just going to find bargains for people. So for women. So for the first 18 months, I literally, every night, you could ask my husband, every single night, I trawled. I scrolled, I browsed for really cool bargains. And I suppose my brand and how it differed, because there were bloggers 5-10 years ago, there were obviously lots of different people doing different things. But I found that making a strict rule about the price point that I found things, and then I kind of have stuck to that ever since. You know, I still get sent things and it's like $129 jacket. I'm like, I can't promote it. Yeah. For me, $100 is all about the justification to yourself, to your husband, to your budget, to whatever. Under 100 is like, I can have that.
Yeah, it's a
when I'm a mum,
item.
I can have it.
Yeah, totally, yeah.
So I felt that was kind of my cap. And then the idea was born from there. And what I started to do at the very start was buy everything.
Right.
Then I ended up really broke, and my husband was like, enough, finished. Like my whole wardrobe was overflowing with really beautiful things, and you know, my friends were going, oh my gosh, your wardrobe is just out of control. And at that stage I didn't have clients, and I wasn't working with brands. I was literally genuinely going in and finding whatever I loved and publishing it.
Yeah.
So any given day, I was probably finding like 4 to 6 bargains a day.
And you were buying that?
Not 100% of them, but I was doing a really good job. And I kept saying to myself, well, you know, it's a $50 top.
Yeah.
But then times 5 and you're not working. And then by the end of the week I was thinking, oh, that adds up. I did eventually go back to the radio station to work. And I found myself, and I think my manager knew at the time, I found myself so pulled. And I think a lot of small businesses, when they start off and you're doing 2 things at once, you get to this point where you're like, it's pulling me away from my actual paid career.
Yes. Yeah.
This is really bad, and it's on their time. And I very quickly had to make a decision because I was so distracted. And I wasn't actually in. It's like when you go on maternity leave and you're having a baby and you kind of know, and you're sitting at your desk going, what did I just think about for like 10 minutes? You're just on another planet and you're kind of not focused.
Yeah.
And I found that when my new baby was I Heart Bargains, I just wanted to be all over it. I wanted to be in it every day of the week, and I wanted to be kind of sourcing bargains and growing it. So I quickly made a decision to leave that full-time gig. And I was very fortunate. I don't like people to think, oh, I can, Chelsea just made the jump and it was really easy.
Yeah.
I had a really good chat to my husband who, I'm fortunate enough that I had the support to be able to do that jump.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I had $20,000 there in savings and he was like, oh, give it a red hot shot.
Yeah.
I came away, I had pretty much no savings because I'd been on mat leave, and I was always we've got separate bank accounts.
Yeah.
Which some of my friends are like, why?
We do too. You do
Yeah.
as well, don't
Yeah.
you? We have a joint account and then a separate bank
Same.
account each. Because I don't like, he wouldn't care what I spend, but I don't
Same.
know. I just want to get what I want.
Same.
when I want.
Yeah.
Exactly the same.
Yeah, it's
So,
funny, isn't it?
and it's been the same with my business. My business stays to the side, and I've always said to him, because childcare came up, when you've got to work and you're balancing everything, and I've got 2 babies, I was like, I need to be able to work and I need to be able to focus. And in that first year and a half, I would put Jude down, open my laptop, and I'd try and explain to girls, when you really want something, if you want to do it, you've got to do it after hours. If you don't have that childcare in place, I was working 7 till 12 pretty much every night. And that work allows me to probably now relax a little bit now, because I did all those really hard hours, yards. I was exhausted, but I loved doing what I was doing, so shopping never feels like work to a lot of.
No, it's a pretty sweet little thing you've carved out for yourself.
You've really carved a real niche in the market, haven't you? Because everyone knows when they come to your site exactly what they're going to get. Do you think that's contributed to your success? That it's really clear what you are, what you're about. If you're looking for a bargain, go to I Heart Bargains.
Yeah, I think it's. I think the other thing is I've tried to be, and I think I am. I can't pretend, but really relatable. So all the women that are coming to my site, yes, they're going to get a bargain for under 100, but I'm not going to put up ridiculous midriff tops, or I'm 34, you're going to find things for similar age bracket. And of course, this was built from my friends obviously sharing the concept. So relatively the same age. And I think I was always clear from the start that that's what it was. It was fashion under $100. Now, of course, it's home, it's beauty, like it's grown into those categories because there's been a demand for it. Home especially, you guys would know, it's just gone Burko. Like people have just gone crazy for home under 100 and having that really beautiful luxe look for less, because no one knows.
No.
And I was always of that ilk. Years ago, I'd wear something and I was never embarrassed, never, about saying, yeah, this is a Kmart top and it was on sale for $12. Whereas I think when I started, people were like, why do you tell people that?
Yeah.
Oh, why don't you pretend it's something else? I'm like, but isn't this cool? So I always went out with the aim to make bargains cool.
Yeah.
And make, cool fashion accessible to all women, especially those ones that have come from that corporate world or had a really good job and then all of a sudden fallen out because of maternity leave or they can't get back in. You can still have the cool fashion and look good, but you just don't have to pay a lot of money.
Yeah.
You don't, and I'm proof of that. You absolutely don't. I've had a lot of girls write to me and say, oh my gosh, I've saved, which I'd argue saved, but I've saved so much money from having you as that connection point, because I can have cool stuff and I can still have budget for the shopping and, have the kids in really nice clothes, but I still have that option to not spend huge amounts.
I do it myself. If I've got a few days before payday, but I really want to buy something. When you just have that urge that you really need to buy something, I'll just go into I Heart Bargains and see what you've got.
Yes, do that.
Because I know I can get something at a reasonable price here. And I can satisfy that need of really wanting to wear something new without spending a lot of money.
Totally, and I still, it's funny, people are like, oh, your wardrobe must be, ridiculous new. And I was saying to Monty on the way here to this, I was like, this is a special day, like it's really amazing to be interviewed. I was like, I want a new top. I was like, I have to have a new top. And I'm talking to Mum on the way here, she's like, you have something to wear.
Yeah.
You have something. But I still have that, I suppose, that passion and that love to have something new, to look good every day, to not be in active wear every single day and to try and work outside of that. And I think I Heart has become that kind of lifestyle for people where they can have both.
Yeah.